On behalf of the Franciscan Friars, we're here to bring you a little Fervorino, or words of inspiration and hope. You know, these can be difficult days with the COVID crisis going on and plenty of discouragement coming our way. I just heard today that masses will not be celebrated until May 29th. Yet another restriction and discouragement thrown our way. As a priest, what a surprise. This isn't the priesthood that I ever would have imagined. And I imagine you as the faithful would not have imagined as celebrating sacraments this way either. But maybe you're feeling a little bit of discouragement too. Maybe you're discouraged that your small business isn't up and going and underway. Maybe you are discouraged or lonely and that you can't contact your good friends and be near them. Or maybe you're grieving for the loss of a loved one. Or maybe you're suffering as well. And where do you go when you suffer like this in this time of restrictions? Well, for me, I go to three places. I go to the scriptures, I go to an inspiring person, and I go to the wisdom of the church. The first thing, scriptures. You know, scripture has wonderful consolation for us, especially in the book of Wisdom, chapter 7, verse 10, that says, "Beyond health and beauty, I loved wisdom, and I chose to have her rather than the light, because her radiance never ceases." The radiance of wisdom never ceases. It's eternal, right? It's the wisdom of the ages. We have other things that we get caught up in, like our beauty, and we can't go to the beauty salon or the barber that we love so much. Or we can't go to that workout club to work and tone in on our physique and work out the way that we would prefer to do. Or we worry about our money. We worry about our limited resources. And all these are transitory, right? They're not eternal. And wisdom reminds us that this is the good stuff. This is the stuff that's been with us for ages. And the wisdom is worth acquiring, is worth pining for. And that is good consolation and a good thing for me to remember, to prioritize my life, to put wisdom in that number one seat. And who are the ones that did this? I think of Francis. You know, St. Francis was really good at putting God at number one. In fact, he had a wonderful phrase that captures his spirituality so well. He says, "My God and my all." Deus meus et omnia. Latin for my God and my all, meaning that if I put God in the front seat of my life and I put him to direct everything with the wisdom of my heart, that I have nothing to fear, nothing to worry. I lean upon him and trust in his providence because he's seen worse situations than what we're going through, and he's seen his people be carried through them. And I trust in that. And that gives me a great sense of consolation. My God and my all. Francis captured that so well with his life. You know, in his conversion, he lived out a conversion of only 20 years. He had that turning towards the Lord when he was around 24, 25 years old and only lived to be 44. And that was 20 solid years of gospel living, of putting God first and number one. And look at how famous Francis became because he put wisdom first, because he put God first in his life. And all the transitory things, come what may, he let them take care of themselves. What an inspiration St. Francis of Assisi was and is to us in our modern day. And we look to scriptures for our wisdom. We look for people, and we look for the wisdom of the church. You know, the wisdom of the church tells us that Christ has made death the sweet and beloved friend of the Christian. We're all Christians, and death is our beloved friend. Have we really taken that to heart? And what does that mean if death is now my friend, and Christ brought this friend to me, that I've made peace with my inevitable death, that I welcome it should it come tomorrow? And then I not worry about how it is that the Lord will take me to be reunited with him. Ideally in heaven, God willing, definitely. And what is that calling for each one of us that has made peace with that death? Not an easy thing to do. I don't want to sound as though it's easy, but this is the wisdom of the church and the wisdom of Easter, because we told at Easter that Christ has conquered death. What does that mean to my heart? What does that mean to the everyday? And am I going to worry about catching an invisible virus? Yes, we need to take precautions. Definitely. I wear my mask too when I go shopping. But I want to be sure that I don't let my fear of death rule my life. Well, there you have it. 3 ways to put God in the driver's seat, to reprioritize our life, because we're in a time of pause, right? All life around us has been paused like a movie, and it's all stopped. And we don't know when things are going to go back to normal, when they're going to start up, and we can push play. But in this time, we can take advantage of seeking wisdom and seeking God as that number one in our life. And we can do this by going to the scriptures, by going to those holy people that inspire us, and also looking at the wisdom of the church and what the church has taught us. There's this great resource for wisdom right now that's being offered. And Matthew Leonard is a wonderful evangelist. He was a former Protestant that has turned Catholic, and he's just on fire with, he did a scripture series called From Genesis to Jesus. Well, he's done another wonderful compilation called Catholic Mysticism and the Beautiful Life of Grace. And this is being offered for free right now through the live streaming of these wonderful programs till the end of April, so not much longer. But what a wonderful resource to seek wisdom in all things. I want you to know that the friars are praying for you regularly, and we are lifting you up with your concerns to Our Lady of Consolation. And here are just some of the prayers that have been forwarded to us friars. Lynn is praying for the health and safety of all healthcare workers and first responders. Deborah is praying for the opening of our church. Regina is praying to keep us strong and safe through this time of virus. Also, there's prayers for Operation Feed a Trucker, that it remain open and have the resources to continue right here in Findlay, Ohio. And Lois is praying for all who are home alone. Autumn is praying for teens and adults in group homes, that they stay well and connected via technology with family that cannot visit due to shelter in place and visitation restrictions. And Phyllis has lost 3 people in her family in just 9 months. And she's hoping that the world turns to God and never loses sight of him. These are just some of the prayers that we're offering up to Our Lady of Consolation. These will be placed right by Our Lady of Consolation on her altar. And I welcome you to send in your petitions through commenting right below this video or sending in a direct message to Friar John. And we would be happy and honored to pray for you. Peace and all good things.